Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So we're going to take a look at the changes I made to this tank. This is the Ocho, my 8th aquarium, has my wild guppies and pea puffers. But first, let's check this out right here. Right here in the gravel. This little guppy fry dove in there to escape predation. So I haven't seen any babies in this tank for quite a while, not since the first babies all grew up, like all these. I started with 10 of these wild guppies, and all of these, most of these were born here and grew up. And then when I had the pea puffers, and then all the bit of plants that I had in here died off. So this was a completely bare tank because I set it up to be a quarantine tank. So I had no gravel. So I just put that in, last week, and I got this wisteria last week. So I just planted or put those in the substrate. And this piece of mopani wood is one of the pieces when I bought a bunch of it from Drs. Foster and Smith a while back. And I already had, this has always been in here, the lava rock. I got that just when this was just serving as a quarantine tank, just so that it could have like surface area and it's porous and to grow a bacteria colony. But yeah, so I also got a new light, so the lighting is better. I got a Beamswork light instead of just this submersible light that I had in here. I mean, it's still in the tank, it's not on. That's the Beamswork light that's shining it up, looking good. And with this lighting, it's just so much better. You can see the color of these wild guppies looking pretty awesome. I even get to see the pea puffers better now with better lighting. You can see their coloring is looking good. And I have the bronze corydoras. Oh yeah, and I added some platies. This is a juvenile male platy from my 30-gallon tank. It has just a mix. I think it's part Varietis platy. This might be part green lantern. See some kind of green shininess to it. And there's another juvenile female marigold Varietis platy in here somewhere. And I did finally move the blue platy, the female blue Mickey Mouse or blue moon platy. So there she is right there, doing well in my 30-gallon planted live bear community tank. So the whole time she was in the tank with the guppies and pea puffers, the wild guppies and pea puffers, I never saw any of her babies. I'm sure she had babies multiple times there, so now that she's in here, I expect eventually I will see some little blue moon platy babies. Alright, well, let's go back to the other tank. Okay. So yeah, everything's looking good in here, I think. The wisteria, some of it is converting. This is how the leaves grow when it's immerse grown, and then submerged grown, it gets more leafy like that. and I just had it just floating, so it's kind of, I think, as it was floating on top, like reaching the light, it was kind of bent like that, but I think it'll straighten out now that it's going to be in place. Oh, and looking over here and back through the right here, I put a piece of, that's some Anubias nana. I brought that over from my Guppy Antler hybrid tank. When I did a water change recently there, I snapped the rhizome accidentally when I was pulling out some Java moss that's all tangled in there. So it's actually the first time I ever propagated Anubias. Let's see if that little fry is still there. Where was it? May have moved. I think it was. Oh no, there it is. Right there. So maybe when this wisteria grows and gets bushy, I will be able to, it'll provide some hiding places for some fry, so maybe some new fry can survive and grow up despite all the adults trying to eat them. And now let's look at the tank below. My other 10-gallon, the last one that I set up. So last week I got a bunch of new fish, one of them being that roseline shark right there, one being that otocinclus on the back. That black neon tetra's in the way. That's one of 2 otocinclus. So there's a lot of algae. Oh yeah, there's the other one right there. And got a bunch of pygmy corydoras. So I got 26 of them last week. One of them, I did have one loss, or one that I know of. I did find one little dead one in here since then, but when they start scurrying around, it is really cool looking. There they go. How they group together, and when they hover, it's pretty cool. Well, not really doing it much right now, but when I do, I'll watch them doing it, and I'll maybe make another video later at some point. And then what else? Got the julii corydoras over here. So one thing I've noticed with these, like corydoras, they will their coloring will kind of match the substrate. Like these are lighter while they're in here when this light substrate, compared to the one I have in my 30-gallon that has black substrate, and it's, you know, they just look darker and like more black and silverish. And oh yeah, so I have, just for the hell of it, I put a female guppy in here in this breeder box. This will be the second time I've ever done this with a guppy, or any fish for that matter. First time I did this in my Guppy Antler hybrid tank, I had a guppy that had conjoined twins, like one body, like 2 bodies sharing one head. Another one had like 3 eyes, because it was, the second head was partially formed. It was pretty weird. We'll see what happens this time, because no babies are surviving in here with all these fish. You know, any fry are getting eaten, so I want to try to see if I can raise some in here for a little bit, let her have babies in here, let them grow a little bit, and then release them to the tank. So, oh yeah, so when I added these last week, all these new fish, I put in quarantine meds, erythromycin, general cure, and Icax. So that was, I think, Wednesday when I put those in. So I'm going to give it at least a week, a few more days before I decide to move them to other tanks. But they're all looking good, except for that one pygmy cory that I lost. And the Pandagara is looking awesome. Those are the ones before that last batch of fish I got last week. Those are the last new fish I got. They're so cool. Alright, let's take another look at the wild guppy tank. So, gonna put some easy green fertilizer in here, see if I can get the wisteria growing, and then I'm also planning on getting some Ludwigia repens. I'm gonna go to my local fish store next week to see if they have some. But yeah. Alright. So that's it for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.